Good, beautiful Monday morning. I hope everybody is alive, well, and doing great on this wonderful day. For some of you out there, like Ruby Hoove, who might be a little under the weather, I hope that you get better quickly. We've got a lot going on. This week is going to be huge. Obviously, I just dropped a huge video. Hopefully, you get a chance to see it. A lot of time and effort went into the developing story that was Snow White for over the course of the last 2 years. Everybody knew it was a disaster. We'll touch on it today. But there are certain parties that I respect, like Weatherman, who doesn't necessarily want that to be the core of all things news. So it's not. We've got a lot to get to. In fact, 17 stories in all. I will probably be able to get there in about 6 minutes, I hope. And yeah, so you're just want to buckle up. Just going to want to buckle up and know this, that I appreciate each and every one of you. All of your comments on the videos, especially the Snow White video that dropped today, those are very important. It's really important if you make it through the entire video, but even if you don't, be sure to hit the like button and comment on any video that I've dropped, because believe it or not, drives engagement. We're shooting for over 1,000 to 1,500 in the first hour that a video drops, and the only way to do that is with your help. Just like driving subscriptions to the channel, that's all you guys. So I just want to say thanks in advance for all your support and everything that you do. You guys are the best. All right, on that note, we need to say hi to each and every one of you. There's a lot of you out there. If we don't get to everybody, we'll try by the end of the stream. This is an hour-long edition of the 6 Minute Daily, so buckle up, get ready. Weatherman is here, who spammed the hobo and dancing bear. I appreciate it, Weatherman. Morgan King's in the house. I have a couple of volunteers to run the... and moderate the Discord, so that's good news. We got Scott Shook out there. Good to see you, my friend. Our favorite polar bar is here. That's right. Sora Poopus Cuber is joining us. Caledon 910 is here. My favorite radio station, Caledon 910. We've got a few other folks in the house, like Jill swinging her wrench around. I love it. A few more, like Janet Z. Good morning, dear. Good to see you. Of course, we've got BMO Beta, BMO Beta over on the Green Machine, and Ruby Hoove dropping a Culture Casino membership for a lucky YouTube watcher. I appreciate that. I know you're not feeling well. We got Longest Parsec in the house over on the Green Machine. Jan Monroe's joining us on the YouTube side. And it's going to be one of those days, I think. We're just going to have more news than we know what to do with. And I thought I was on top of a story, but it turned out to be the third best story of the day. Me and my monkeys out there. Me and my monkey. Well, let's see. We've got Darth Soywalker. Happy Monday indeed. 12 minutes ago. All right. By the way, I like that I have timestamps on when these are, because I'll know just how far behind I am. Over on the right side of the equation, on the also known as Rumble, we got Ms. Pick Cafe holding down the fort. Thank you, dear. Hope you're doing well. Actually, on both sides of the fort, most likely. Looks like we got a pretty big super duper from my good friend who didn't need to do that, but he's just crazy like that. Release the McCracken. How you doing, bud? Lee Kindler. Good morning, Culturians. That's right. Good morning, Culturians. SFX of 314 Sabertooth Raptors joining us today. And you know what? Outlaw Bill is too. Good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. I saw you keep on the grind on the channel, dude. On that note, we've got to go. That's right. John Gibson, good morning. Commander Ed Straker of Shadow. Looks like a couple other folks sneaking in the door, like King of the Monsters and Tom over on the Rumble side. He's probably also on YouTube. Wes Trueblood, good to see you, my friend. And Randall Orzer, that crazy Canadian guy. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are members, hey, Jay! For those of you who are members, just remember, tomorrow's Tuesday. So if you are gold tier or higher in your membership, it is watch party night, so join us. All right, everybody. 6 minutes starts now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are and whenever you're watching. Thanks for checking out the 6 Minute Daily. We have a lot to talk about, not a lot of time to do it in. We got 17 stories and all. Let's start here with the one that I thought would be, well, like the preamble into what I thought was the biggest news, and I was wrong. Endeavor is private. That's right. Silver Lake Partners has closed the deal. And you still end up with Ari Emanuel becoming the executive chairman of the newly named WME Group. So Endeavor gone, new thing there. Still own TKO Media, and looks like Disney could lose that contract. So what are they going to do? They're going to buy football. Crazy stuff. We've got report ESPN's potential acquisition of NFL media, which I think is the biggest story, could come with a $2 billion price tag. When this dropped, and Mike Florio was the one that wrote it, I was befuddled, flabbergasted, blown away. Why? Because, well, the NFL Network is a big deal. It has all of the stuff. It has NFL films rolled into it, and basically everything media about the NFL is going to be there. And if Disney owns that, that's a considerable piece of leverage. They also own coverage of the Thursday night games in conjunction with one of the digital platforms out there. Disney could actually secure the ability to control the rights for entity of broadcast distribution. Yeah, those are the right words. Yeah, crazy stuff. So I guess we heard this before, but nobody believed it. The price tag is $2 billion, and that ownership stake would go both ways, including the league's investment into ESPN. So the NFL media assets are actually worth that much money. Of course they are. Mike Florio knows better than this. But what does blow me away is that this could actually happen. The only problem is ESPN's terribly woke, and the FCC said something very recently that we covered on Friday. They're not interested in allowing companies to merge that are woke AF or have DEI. So we're going to see what comes about of this. It'll be wonderful to monitor, I think. Speaking of things to monitor, the news, CNN is in the process of collapsing. Of course, they bring in a new chief content officer as they try to build a digital front with people that people reject already on broadcast. Why would people accept terrible people on digital if they don't accept them on broadcast? I don't know. But hey, Amanda Wills is rejoining the cable news brand. We've got Snow White from a weird perspective, red and blue counties. Interesting way to cover a story by Anthony D'Alessandro. At least he's not shilling in this particular one, but at least looking at how the political divide is now affecting films at a larger rate. We've got Disney's Snow White opening terribly. I've covered that in today's video in depth and in a lot of different ways, and of course, including the shills. So go check that video out as soon as you're done here if you can. And your $270 million budget doesn't go very far when you're earning under $100 million in a domestic opening, a global opening anyway. 43 and 44 million. My goodness. Well, former Impractical Joker star Joe Gatto was accused of SA, and now he's saying, I'm working on myself. It's an ongoing process. So he doesn't say he did it, doesn't say he didn't do it, but primary takeaway is that maybe he did things that people were uncomfortable with. Speaking of things people were uncomfortable with, Gérard Depardieu is back in court again over an SA accusation, which, he's been trying to knock this down for years. Nikki Glaser says she's concerned about the possibility of getting unalived threats and being detained. Yeah, we don't live in that country, and you are silly. Speaking of silly, Hollywood Reporter's having the conversation about what streamers are going to have to do to be successful. Apparently, they've recognized that prestige belongs to the high-end channels like HBO, not to streaming services. It's too costly. Procedurals are less expensive, and they work and have an audience. Who doesn't have an audience is George Clooney. He's not going to be doing romantic films anymore. Whether or not you know it, he's actually done some films recently. Nobody went to see them. Man drives car into protesters. This headline is infamous. Now, why? Because it proves the AP is ideologically captured. It should say car drives into protesters, right? Right? We've got passenger on United Airlines saying that the pilot forcibly removed him from the restroom, exposing him to the rest of the cabin. This Jewish man, his filing suit, going to be spendy. Ticketing platform StubHub is looking for an IPO, and I think it would be nice to have a publicly traded company competing with Ticketmaster. Canada's oldest company, Hudson Bay, is going to be liquidating all but 6 stores starting today. That's terrible news. My goodness. Oldest retailer in Canada. Canada's new prime minister is triggering an election, which, well, let me tell you, he's non-elected anyway. I'm not sure parliamentary is a good choice for you guys in Canada anymore. It has some holes. You've got Trump greenlighting a Boeing contract for a new secretive fighter jet because of China's threat. And speaking of China, well, China's premier says U.S. relations is at an all-time important juncture during a meeting with the senator that is currently, well, over there. Over there. Over there. I know this much. Tariffs certainly do bring negotiations to the table. On that note, we've got one thing to share with you, a bear story in bonus time, which starts now. That's right. And for those of you out there, I just want to say thanks for being here nice and early. We got a super chat to get to from our good friend 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser for 25 extraordinarily gracious and generous Culture Casino cash, saying 25 from 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. Well, thank you. He didn't even say anything. Just send me bucks. What a crazy dude. You know, I'm not going to get all of this, Nick. If you're trying to do what I think you're trying to do, you're not. You're a good man. I love you, dude. All right, we got to get to some. We got to get to some of your chats on thoughts on today. But I just thought it was fascinating that. I thought it was fascinating that you've got ESPN at a time when Disney doesn't have the money to do it, looking to buy NFL Network. It's just crazy. Hey, good morning, Larry Wells and the lovely Penny. Curtis is here. What's up? Curtis Joseph says, hey, CC, what movie are you going to actually looking forward to most seeing this year? Oh, Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. I think Lilo and Stitch is one I'm looking forward to as well. But Mission Impossible is the one I'm most looking forward to, my friend. So I think that's fair. Hey, Dan's Life at the Kingdom. Remember Top Gun Maverick? China freaked out about the Dark Star from Lockheed Martin. It was a fake plane. I'm going to tell you right now. There's a few planes out there that I'm sure China has some inkling about. We don't really understand some of the technology we have out there. I'm just going to put it that way. Angela Richter drops a membership. Thank you, Angela. A Culture Casino membership from the lady with the Sumatran tiger. Do you think there's still room in the commentary space? I'm starting a new channel so I can vent before I lose my marbles. I think there's plenty of room. Look, man, there was a famous sportscaster that I thought an awful highly of, despite the fact that many people considered him a jerk. And he and his boss had a common saying that I think applies even now, probably even more so now than ever. Have a take and don't suck. That's what commentary is all about. So if you're well informed, if you're willing to do the research, if you're willing to structure your comments in a way that are easily consumable, or if you're extremely passionate, sometimes you don't need to be any of the other things. Not speaking well today. I think there's plenty of room. I mean, I'm going to be, I've got about 20 more things to do as far as the reaction channel goes. And then I'm going to open up a reaction channel because there's just too much dumb stuff to cover. And so for your $5 Canadian, I'll say there's plenty of room, man. Jump on it. You're regular on my chat. Decent chance I'll promote you. Speaking of promoting things, we've got Kanan Barnes for 5 Culture Casino cash. What's up, Kanan? Good to see you, buddy. I don't know what Disney could do with the NFL rights, but it could turn the NFL viewership down to the levels of the NBA. Oh, I hope not, especially if the Kelsey Taylor continues. Yeah, Well, Disney knows how to promote a princess, and I'm sure Kelsey would appreciate being promoted. Ah! See, have a take and don't suck. I'm going to tell you that that is a distraction, and it's not positive for the league, and it's not bringing any real fans or eyeballs to the game. I mean, you know, at this point, linear television distribution, even streaming distribution, relies too much on advertisements when they didn't used to be a concern. The advertisements would just sell themselves. The time would just sell itself. There's a few people that are in the ad industry here that are supporters of the channel and other channels I'm on, and I have a couple of questions I'm going to fire at them, because I think if if Kennedy, if RFK Jr. gets his wishes, you won't see advertisements for certain things on television anymore. We're one of only 2 countries that allows for the pharmaceutical industry to advertise. One of 2. That's a club I want to get out of. And if that happens, that's almost 50% of the revenue, if you trust some reports from business journals. That would change things, wouldn't it? They'd have to go back to mass appeal instead of, relying on one industry. Sander Hammerschlag says, what about Whoopi's Elon lawsuit? Do we take that seriously? Let me look it up. I don't see anything, my friend. Whoopee. I think the last time this thing floated was about 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, I don't see anything supporting it yet. But what I do see is something else entirely. But before we get into that, we haven't done our bear story today. So I desperately need to do a bear story. You guys ready? You ready for Freddy? There's a line from a movie. Hey, Improbi's in the house, and so is Juliet and Alex G. CC at a loss for words. I'm always at a loss for words. Hey, Scat Cook. A Polymuse minion. I think Matt G's here too. Donovan's here. All right, let's get to it. I wanna share this story with you so I can share a story with you. Wild stuff. Okay, let's jump in. Bears. I love them. You know that. But apparently encounters with bears in Florida have plummeted in a specific Florida county. You see, Seminole, it was the first local government in the state to impose financial penalties on residents who fail to secure their trash. Guess what? If there's less easily available food, there are fewer bears. That shouldn't be surprising. So if you impose some restrictions and you find yourself with a very sharp drop in face-to-face encounters with humans and Bruins. So if you screw up, you get fined. So complaints tumbled in 2024 to 308, which was a 22% drop. That was down from 395 in 2023. In the 2 years before the rules, they had over 1,000 in 2014 and nearly 700 in 2015. As you can see, if the trash is available, big problems. So there are places that could benefit like this, for like Volusia and other counties, Lake, Orange, Osceola, however you want to pronounce it. And even Orange County. So, what I'm looking at here in this story, and this is from our friends over at the Tampa Bay Times, is secure your trash, and then you won't have a problem. I wonder who's been saying that for years. This guy. All right. Anyway, I just thought it was fun to talk a little bear news. And, I was surprised that our not friend, what's his name? He's an actor. He's a head tilt actor. He's not really talented. A lot of people give him too much credit. George Clooney. Yeah, he's a soap opera actor. A lot of people give him too much credit. And he not being in romantic movies anymore, that doesn't bother me. Do you know why? Because right now he's starting to look like an aging vampire. Like he could play a vampire. That's probably the best role for that guy. I mean, culturally, he is a vampire. But I'm probably going to get in trouble for that. That's just an opinion. I got to scroll through here. I'm so far behind. You guys are cooking in the chat. Thank you for that. I got Keenan Barnes, super chat. I got a couple more that scrolled through, so I got to get to that. Walter Tomaszewski. There, I think I finally pronounced his last name right. Mary Rose Morning Song is here. Good morning. Saying, I should be so happy to never see a TV commercial for Big Pharma. I've always hated them. Yep. I think it'll be really nice. I just want to say thank you to the Weatherman, gifting multiple memberships on the Green Machine. 1, 2, 3. My goodness. Weatherman. Look at that. Looky. I love it. I love it a lot. All right, let's get back to the main part of the conversation with all these amazing people. Disney does own ESPN, but it's ESPN to buy NFL Network. Did I word that strangely? Probably. And thank you, D-Bud Martin. America's favorite wrench. D-Bud says, subscribe to that gameplays. Yes, you can watch me struggle through Assassin's Creed Shadows. I got to get back to that at some point today. You guys are going to watch me pulling my hair out. We got 3 videos coming out today, guys. We got one already. You got to go watch it. Please go watch that video and share it around. Comment on it. Hit the like button. Make it big. Try to watch through almost all of it. If you can make it through all of it, that would be great. But your comments are very, very important. California Kevman, what's up? Says, Man, Bear, Pig. I know, right? Yeah, I'm a huge fan of bears. California used to be like an amazing state for bears. They still are. I mean, it's on the flag. You get a bear up there. But, yeah, the bear stories are the best, right, Brian? I think so, my friend. I think so. A tipping Bard. I know this guy. I know this person. For 2, Culture Casino Cash says, will Tesla shareholders sue Musk for stock drops? They can't. Technically, I think he only owns about 12% of the stock. And this is what the morons trying to do damage to them don't understand. You're taking a shot at tens of thousands of employees and actual shareholders. The shareholders are major institutional investors. And the last thing the institutional investors want to do is get out of electric cars because they're still artificially trying to support the green initiative stuff. You see what happens when you light one of those things on fire? They're really not green. They weren't green to build in the first place, and they're terribly not green when you burn them. So they wouldn't have a case. Only thing in the news is Disney buying Fubo. That was a little while ago. NBC, many other places were reporting the ESPN acquisition of NFL Network had a $2 billion price tag, and that Disney was proceeding forward with it. They just don't have any money. I didn't know. Kosher bears? I know there's kosher food, kosher pickles, kosher dills. John Durham's in the house. What's going on, John? Alex G. CC, can you cover the backtracking of Waltz on Tesla? Yeah, I saw that story. I wasn't certain it was going to be a super good story for this, but let me see if I can find a version of it that's something I can do on YouTube. Yeah. Also, I think he's taking shots at. I think he's taking shots at a lot of different things that he's going to rethink quickly, especially if he thinks he's got a political future. I'm not seeing one I can report. But yeah, I mean, when you look at Waltz's track record, he's all over the place. He's just trying to grab a headline and stay relevant. He's a real problem. Our wonderful friend Liberty All's Cat for 2 Culture Casino Cash says, unable to watch? Have a good Monday. I hope you're doing well, my friend. I hope it's not anything serious, and thank you for your support. CC, know what's going on with Insomniac and Venom? I do not. I am not caught up. I probably will be by the end of the day, but I am not. I imagine some kind of a game thing. I really can't speak to it, King of Monsters. I wish I could. I'll have to look it up. I only had time to get through entertainment and business news this morning. I did not make it to gaming. I have like 11 different gaming sites I check all the time and over 20 in my favorites list. And I didn't get to any of them. I do know that Assassin's Creed is reporting, and this is only because it was on Twitter, that they have over 2 million quote unquote players. Y'all know what players means, right? People are logging in and looking at the game from the Ubisoft game streaming platform or their subscription version of Game Pass or whatever they call it. By the way, I have to be logged into Ubisoft Connect to play this stupid game. I can't stress enough how much I despise Ubisoft at this point. I just can't. And thank you for the $2. Next up, we got another super duper chat from our good friend. Is this live for a Canadian $10? Sorry, but Tesla stock drops are last week's news. It's up almost 20% since last week. People are buying the dip. That was predictable. Plus 23andMe filed for bankruptcy. Well, they probably aren't getting any new customers, especially since it was leaked what they could do with that data. And what they have done in the past with that data. So, wow. Good catch. Is this live? Thank you very much. I feel like I'm missing some supers. Did I miss some? No, I got Keenan Barnes. Our good friend, Curtis Joseph, with 1 month of membership, says Canada's snap election next month could be good. I really hope so, Curtis Joseph. For my Canadian friends out there, could you guys put that Paul Olivier guy in, or however you say his name? Could you get behind his party and his leadership please. It would be great for your country, our country. This tariff thing wouldn't last very long. Although he said some things that are a little questionable. I think he doesn't understand. And this is the problem, I think, overall. Trump uses everything as a leverage tool for negotiation because it's the art of the deal. That's what the American people elected Trump for, the art of the deal and the ability to fix things, to streamline stuff and get rid of the waste. And look, these judges that are lining up against this, they should immediately fall to impeachment because they have zero authority to make these judgments. They are not in the executive branch. Anyway, we'll keep going. I think Psychotic Mongoose steps up and gives a culture casino membership. Thank you, Psychotic Mongoose. Looky here. Psychotic Mongoose, gift 1 culture casino membership. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we got to get to the story. It's cooking. I got a story cooking. It's cooking. It's cooking. Oh, we got to make it smaller. Need less cooking. There we go. All right. So apparently, Hollywood needs Trump's help, but they've said and done a lot of things that are not great. You saw the stories last week or over the weekend where Hollywood was, oh, please, Mr. Trump, help. Please, Mr. Trump, help. And that didn't happen. It might still happen. He's the only one that's ever asked them in recent history about how he can help Hollywood, which I get. I mean, look, it's an industry in the U.S. that employs hundreds of thousands of people, whether or not you know that. So it's important. It's important. But Hollywood's DEI promoting nonprofits face Trump assault. Uh-oh. Promoting nonprofits. Hollywood's nonprofits. The higher profile you are, the bigger the target. From women in film and Color of Change to Gold House, which is dedicated to, racially promoting films. And this happens all the way around the corner. They became a big part of Hollywood at a time when there's a lot of other entities that were backing films that were very divisive, that were basically designed to disrupt and destroy civilization here in the United States and the Western world. So they're not going to get any more money from the federal government because this is one of the places where some NGO money was going. And those NGOs, to some extent, were funded by USAID. So it's a dire time for Hollywood nonprofits dedicated to advocating for minorities, women, and other underrepresented. Now, okay, can I say something? Nobody is underrepresented in the United States. Nobody. And especially not in Hollywood. If you want more racially diverse films, write them. But Hollywood's too lazy. So you are ending up with a black Snape. Is that going to make the project more appealing? I don't know. But to me, the reason that's concerning is multidimensional. I feel that if you've established something, you should leave it alone, which is why Snow White probably irritated some other people. But I'm frustrated because Hollywood is unwilling to write roles for minority leads. One of my favorite actors is Denzel Washington. I do believe he can play any role. I think he just recently did Othello. He is also took over the job of an actor that played a character on television in film. But to me, Denzel Washington is the definitive equalizer. A lot of people will point out, well, that's a racial change. I don't think it matters. Just do something, do it well, and don't focus on that aspect. But if you do want to focus on that aspect, if that's all you're about as somebody working in Hollywood, write the role, write the story. There's a million different stories you could write. The same thing with my Hispanic friends. This is something that Paulie and I have talked about at length, ad nauseum, on streams before. Do you realize that the Latino or Hispanic audience in the United States over indexes for film viewing? Meaning they outperform the demographic norms. And here's the other thing. I don't have problems with these organizations existing to elevate things or to be a support mechanism in the community. I think that's wonderful. I'm a fan of and was a young participant at the boys clubs, the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. So to me, it's part of community. Again, everybody understands that. But teaching a divisive thought process is wrong. And only looking at things through that prism is wrong. So again, I say, if you're an NGO supported nonprofit that is just about teaching that divisiveness, you shouldn't be surprised that you're being targeted. And any organization that operates with DEI, which is going to be, a likely expectation for an organization like that, is going to be targeted because you are practicing things that are also illegal. The Academy is going to work their hardest to work around the legality of how they're doing the awards. And they're probably going to be successful. But they've changed because of the pervasiveness of DEI, they've changed people's perspectives on how awards are going to be doled out now. And that's dumb. You've put limits on art by artificially including checkboxes on it. You've also artificially manipulated the selection of crew by putting requirements of checkboxes on it, enforcing something that violates EEOC. And you know what? If there's any government organization that needs to grow right now to solve these problems, it's EEOC and their ability to pursue investigations against corporations that are doing this illegally. And the problem is, or I guess the easy part of that job should be that all these companies had those policies. So any company that had that policy that they wrote down, easy to pursue. Regardless, Hollywood's going to be suffering from this for a long, long time. And the reason that organizations like Women of Film, I forgot this is Hollywood Reporter, I can't highlight. The reason why Women in Film and Color of Change to Gold House are facing a financial crisis is because they're not going to be supported by or be able to be supported by the funding mechanisms that they had. So Scott Coran, who is correct, says the ground has quickly shifted, and it has. Any nonprofits advancing progressive causes, which I don't think should be allowed to be nonprofits, but that's a different conversation. Saying that the higher profile you are, the bigger target you are, especially in this environment. The goal isn't always to stop the work. It's to create a chilling effect so that the people doing it stop the work themselves. Well, that's not really what's happening, but maybe that's a side effect. Maybe. Regardless, I just think it's interesting at a time when Hollywood is begging Trump. It's not easier to just drop these policies and drop the support of these organizations. And if these organizations exist to help, then they should recognize that they aren't really helping anymore. I don't know. Those are my opinions, and it's all off the top of my head. So if you're angry with me, that's fine. I'm sorry. But yeah, Yasuke Simulator is huge. Did you see how much viewership Asmongold got for playing that? Even his clip is hysterically funny. So. And Weatherman, you are spot on. 5 minutes after they get what they want, they'll go back to bashing him. Of course. Of course. You saw how quickly they turned on electric cars. The most effective and, and cost-effective electric vehicles are made by Tesla. They're also not as likely to catch on fire or light themselves on fire like a Jaguar E-Pace or BYD motors. That's Hollywood, baby. That's right. Your part could get cut at any moment. John Wilhelm says Hollywood is a burnout husk. Yeah. Yeah, I was born colorblind, my friend. I was raised in a colorblind world. At my age, racism, while it still existed in tiny, small pockets of myopic cultures here and there, was virtually eliminated. And that's why I get so frustrated. I'm like, if we don't talk about it, if we know it exists and we acknowledge that it exists and it's limited, we don't need to invent more. And that's kind of what DEI and similar ideas, that's what they're made to do, is produce more of it. Call things the institutional racist thing is still my favorite ridiculousness, because I'm like, so the people running these institutions, which are usually the super liberal white women. Yes, I know that's a whole lot of stereotyping on my part, but look around. They're actually racist. They just don't recognize their racism. I don't know. But the thing is yeah, I hope it does stay far away from you in Canada. I really do. Except I think some of it's kind of there. Who said that? Not me. I got $2 from Hoove, who says, sorry, can't hang in chat. Gotta bounce. Great day. I'll have a good day, Hoove. And I'm very sorry you can't stick around. Hopefully Ruby Hoove's doing okay. She shared with us that she was having a kind of a tough day. So I wish you guys a wonderful week. So dwarf human Sasquatch hybrids are underrepresented in Hollywood. Yeah, but I can't get a job, and I'm technically not a dwarf. Hoove, thank you for the membership, my friend. That's a wonderful hit and run there. Thank you, Hoove. No accountability makes for a wonderful, fruitful life. Yeah, I think accountability is important. Do your job. The words they never want to hear. I know, right, Kay Roberts? Anyway, regardless, somebody else dropped some news in here. I wanted to see if I could catch, but I didn't. Hey, JPRPH1's in the house. Yeah, I challenge people to go back into the 80s and look at some of the more popular movies and say that there wasn't a pretty diverse cast in them already. I mean, look at especially 80s action films. Like, we had to invent more problems. I don't get it. Boone Scat's taking big swings today. I love you guys. Have you guys noticed that it's more and more predictable to spot the flops in advance? Like, people are having accurate knee-jerk reactions when it comes to some of these projects being announced, and when they announce that they're changing in a large way away from the original source material. Like, if they aren't doing a faithful adaptation, right? Snow White was obviously a clear example of that, but there are other there's other projects and properties that have been announced. I mean, obviously the Harry Potter thing I kind of mentioned off to the side, but there's more to it. People just see this stuff coming and then they immediately go, no, thank you. That makes perfect sense. I don't even I don't even know why it kind of was like a wildfire and it spread very, very quickly. But now the backlash on films is extraordinary. Like, one of the things I talk about, and I think a lot of other people who probably made videos on the subject of the Snow White flop, for example, today, which, thank you. I think that's up to 1,700 or 2,000 views now. Thank you. But mentioned that IMDb had to shut down their rating system, or at least not make it visible. I mean, they had 2,000 reviews just in the time I was monitoring it, and it had like a 2 or a 3 out of 10 for that film. And as Jordan Rumi over at World of Real wrote in their story, were there people there that review bombed it? Of course. They probably did that on Rotten Tomatoes too, and any other aggregate site. But there are people also telling the truth who saw the film who thought it was complete trash, because it is. It is literally a propaganda advertisement for communism or neo-Marxism, take your pick. The pretend bloodless coup that happened at the end of the film is hysterically funny. It's like this is literally almost shot for shot playbook of the Chinese Cultural Revolution, as far as just trying to eliminate the difference between the genders and all this other stuff. It's fascinating. They're just doing it in a very different way, and the problem is it's in support, or it looks to be in support, of the pharmaceutical industry, who makes a giant amount of money on drugs that people shouldn't be taking. So, anyway. Hey, Dean's in the house. Oh man, you guys are on fire today. But I just think it's funny that the broader audience is already pre-rejecting things, and they're mad. If the thing is it's not a din, right? It's not just this low volume din in the background. It's not just back here. Like, it's a murmur that you get from the casino floor. It's loud. And it's like every machine went off at like this film's an example of all the machines going off at the same time with the jackpot. The cacophony is big. It's large. You can't get away from it. Noise canceling headphones won't help you on this one, Disney and Hollywood. You should be paying attention. The window didn't move a little bit. It slid a long way away. You're going to have to chase it to catch up with it at this point. The Overton window has signaled a massive cultural change. The problem is, I think the window is going to go too far the other way, and we'll have an entirely different problem. But that's my center-left position of being a libertarian that was all of a sudden found themselves standing in MAGA country or real Republican territory. I don't know. It's very strange. And Curtis Shaw, you are correct. But that's the fantasy, is you can do these things with a bloodless coup. Not true. The most bloody changes are changes of this scale and magnitude. The restriction of civil liberties and things like that. People don't look at it and say, okay, I'm supposed to call you what? Prescribed speech? No, that's not freedom of speech. I'm going to call you a moron. How about that? You know? Oh man, Jim Cummings on my Rare Friday. I'd love to. I want to talk to. I'd love to talk to people. I always think that the best way to understand something is through conversation, sharing a meal together, like we used to do in the real world. You guys remember the real world? You get a depth of understanding you can't get in any other way. Because if you're talking about even random subjects like locomotives or whatever, you're talking about train transportation cross country, you're going to learn information in a perspective that you wouldn't get any other way. You know, I can tell you that of all of the trips I've done cross country, a train in a sleeper car was one of the coolest things that I've done. There was a lot of turmoil at that point in my life. And watching the landscape go by of this amazing country of ours, I gained, like, it was very introspective. I gained some understanding of myself, but having a conversation with somebody else nearly 24 hours a day for 4 days gave me another shift in perspective, because I understood something from somebody else's point of view. Even if it was trivial, you know, how you want your steak prepared. There's stuff like that. So when I get a chance to talk to somebody, Jim Cummings, any number of other people, that would be amazing. I'd love to do that. And yeah, I'm going to try to bring the Friday show back. It's just very difficult now. There are a lot of things pulling on my time. I didn't realize that when I retired, I'd be so busy. How's that for a conversation? But you guys make this happen. You guys keep me from having to do something else like be a greeter at Walmart. If it wasn't for you guys, who knows what I'd be doing, right? That's why when you guys gift a super chat or a membership, it's so important. It's why I'm going to try to use the whole, I don't know, goal system or whatever that YouTube's promoting right now. You know, to give you a little extra special something. I've got a few different costumes I'm going to don and do dances and stuff. There'll be rewards and things like that. But Putin's cat. Man, when people hear that I have greenhouses, this is their thought. It doesn't serve me well to, you know, have a long hair and a long beard. I do look very hippie-ish, I can assure you I am not. Oh, Apex Comics is having the Breakfast of Kings right now. A little steak and eggs. Let's see. Culture, that's where the saying, I can rest when I'm dead, comes from. Yep. And it's what everybody, all the males in my family seem to have adopted. Nobody really retires. You retire from an industry or a company or from, you know, the operation that you own. And then you go on to do other things because you can't stop. When you hit entropy, you're accelerating your decay. So don't do that. Yeah, I will get to the email. I got one from the folks that are going to be working on the Discord, and I got one from Tom I have to get back to. So, yeah, I went to go do that last night, and my eyes were just done, not focusing. One of the fun things about recording the 3 videos that I did yesterday, or yeah, it was yesterday, that are obviously you're going to see today. One of them, again, the Snow White video, super fun to put together, and I tried to go very linear through it. Starting with the shill of all shills, Screen Rant, but I will get to all those because I really do want to get all that set up. I think Discord is a really good idea. I don't think there's a Darth Entropy, but I feel like that would be a great Darth. You guys are the best. All right. Let's see. John Graber, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. Anytime you want to take a train trip, let me know. I'll go. I love it. Oh, see? There you go. I've got a writing companion. I had to tell you the meals and everything else. First of all, I had steak for dinner every night on the train. So that's why that steak conversation came up. I had full breakfast every day. It was like being in a luxury hotel. And I now have greater understanding why people like river cruises, if you guys are familiar with those. But it's always great to travel with people. Are you kidding me? It's like, I was thinking if we ever do a meetup on a cruise ship, by the way, you can do that. You can book enormous groups on cruise ships. I think that would be a party and a half, don't you? Wouldn't that be something fun you'd like to do? I know I would, but I'm wild. And we could have, like, they have rooms there, right? We could arrange with the cruise director, and the cruise line to take up the rooms for different events with different crews of people. You'd have live, versions of bingo and just throwing out merch and stuff. I think it'd be a party and a half, right? I don't know. Get back with me if you think that's a worthwhile endeavor, because I'll reach out to some folks. I just think it'd be a good time. And with internet now, because a lot of the cruise ships have Starlink, you could still do live shows. Believe me, I did one. If you guys followed me at the time when I was going to Alaska, then you can totally do that. Dean Krantz says, I'm building a greenhouse to stay warm during the winter months while I'm smoking cigars, though I might put a couple of berry bushes. Oh, dude, yeah, for sure. Dude, right now the black over there, the blackberries are going crazy. The blueberries crazy happy right now. I'm gonna have to get a shade cloth that's gonna do double duty. It's gonna shield from full sun, but it's also gonna keep the birds from stealing my food. So yeah. Anyway, I just think it'd be a lot of fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Caveat Ties says, I wish I would have done a river cruise while I was in Germany. Yeah, again, there's several of them that are spectacular and not spendy. I couldn't believe how cheap some of them were. 33 hours in a Amtrak one. See, there's a fellow train enthusiast right there. Thanks for being here, Angela Richter. You're the best. Hey, dude, Culture Clues 2026 sounds like a lot of fun. Be a great way to meet people. John, you too, my friend. You too. Warm weather required, indeed. Well, even that Alaska trip wasn't too cold. Cruise ships are so much fun, and if you want to do a bar hop, hop a cruise ship. That's right. Yeah, I think it'd be fascinating. I'm gonna look into that. Why not? I'll reach out to some of my travel agent friends, see if it's possible. Dengar Renegade, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. Chad St. John, we really could use a more robust train trans. Oh my goodness, yes. We used to have it. That just fell. A lot of rail fell into disrepair. Some of the fun videos to watch when you're just, idle time, and I haven't put out a video that you could watch, are the people who take the abandoned tracks, like they build contraptions to go on them and such. I'm like, just buy one of the old train maintenance vehicles, like the big trucks. They're awesome. They have wheels that drop down onto the tracks. Seems like a decent use of money if you can find one. I can find one pretty easy, I imagine. I'm on board for a culture cruise. There you go. Jay for 5 Culture Casino Cash says, I've taken the train a few times across California to visit family. It's not nearly as fast as driving can be, but I can nap the whole time. I know, isn't that great? I mean, there's like same thing with a cruise ship. I mean, and the other cool thing is if you go on if we all went on a cruise together, like all of us in the fellowship went on a cruise together, first of all, you're going to meet people in person. That's so great. You will refill your joy bucket so fast. But at the same time, when you get to a destination, you can do things as a team or a group or as groups or whatnot. It's a party, kids. I'm just saying. Hey, Jaco Ellers, what's up, my friend? I'm so glad Snow White solo bombed at the box. Oh, boom. Look, we're going to talk more about the box office at Midnight's Edge in the morning, starting in just about 15 or 20 minutes or so. So what I'm doing right now is making sure that the redirect is going to send you over there. I just want to say, you guys always make this show like more than it is on its base level, and I appreciate that. Your participation in the chat, your super chats, your memberships, they go a long way. They really, really do. And I am so very happy and proud to be here every day with you. And I feel like I feel like we're a pretty decent, wholesome community, even though occasionally somebody will say a bad word. So. Peach fan, and good to see you, dear. All right. Have a good day, Weatherman, and thank you. You are amazing. All right. On that note, we need to drop out. We got so much going on, folks, and you are automatically redirected to Midnight's Edge in the morning. Now, very quickly, you don't have to stay there. You just have to set up your notifications so you don't miss it. Or if you want to, open in another window in a link that I actually have down below in the description. Today's video, if you haven't seen it already. And I'll be coming back to this live stream to update the other 2 videos that will be dropping today. We've got one coming out about the MCU and the full-blown panic that people over there are in because of the Russo brothers. And then after that, later in the day, we've got the James Bond video dropping probably in the evening for most places. On that note, I will say it this way. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands because it's good hygiene. And until next time, see ya for real.
Are you tired of the same old buffet food at Wang's? Have you had enough dong to last you a lifetime? Well, take just a few more steps past those single-minded restaurants and dive into Sherry's Slam & Clam. Sherry's Slam & Clam Shellfish Bar is truly all you can eat, unlike the 2 shrimp limit that stingy bastard Wang has. In a hurry, let Sherry stuff your box. To go! Be shellfish and take all you want from Sherry's Slam & Clam. Located next to the 3rd Street Bolorama, Sherry's is open 6 days a week. If you are looking to slam clam, get to Sherry's today.